Migration are emigration and immigration. Emigration is migration from a location, and immigration is migration to a location.
Another important aspect of migration is net migration, which is the difference between the number of immigrants and the number of emigrants. So, if the number of immigrants passes the number of emigrants, then the net migration is positive, and then if emigrants exceeds immigrants, then the net migration is negative, and the region is net out migration.
The two types of migration that are important in explaining where an immigrant is going are internal and international migration.
From one region to another, while intra-regional migration is movement within one region. For interregional migration, most of the migration is from agricultural area to urban area. For intra-regional migration, most of the migration is from older cities to newer suburbs. So many people choose to migrate internally rather than internationally because it's an easier adaptation once they arrive to their new location. So when migrants move within the same country, they'll find similar foods, languages, and other social customs once they arrive in their new location. Also, it's usually a much shorter distance for the person to travel. Migration today accounts for a lot of the population. Around 214 million people today are international migrants. The U.S. has the most foreign born citizens today than any other country. There are around 42 million, and most of them live in the states of California, New York, and Florida. Since the late 18th century, many of the United States citizens have moved west. The population center in 1790 was hugging the coast in Delaware, and now the population center is in southern Missouri. In 1790, every colony was near the Atlantic. Colonists received materials from the Europeans, and if they moved away, they wouldn't have any materials to survive on. Also, the Appalachian Mountains blocked western expansion. There are no easy trails over it, and at the time, Americans didn't have the technology to go over these mountains. Due to the gold rush and technology improvements, people began to move west. The gold rush brought people worldwide to California, and the technology improvements were canals, which helped open up the interior of the Appalachians. Since 1950, U.S. migrants have continued to immigrate westward as they have also migrated south. They have moved south because of job opportunities and the warmer climate. Also, many industries have moved south. Much of the southern industrial growth comes from newer companies.
Push factors are factors that induce people to move out of their present locations. These can include famine, war, and natural disasters. Pull factors are factors that influence people to move into a new location. These can include economic reasons like jobs and better opportunities, or political ones like a stable government. People migrate for cultural reasons. A refugee is someone who has been forced to migrate to another country to avoid conflict, violence, or persecution of government. An internally displaced person has been forced to migrate for the same political reasons as a refugee, but not across the international border, just migrating domestically. And an asylum seeker is someone who migrates to another country in the hope of being recognized as a refugee. Many people that migrate are migrating to find work. There are many economic reasons for migrating, but jobs are the greatest. People who migrate send remittances back home. A remittance is a transfer of money by workers to people in the country from which they came from. Ravenstein noted distinctive gender and family status patterns in his migration theories. He noted that most long-distance migrants were male, and that most long-distance migrants were adult individuals rather than families of children. A relatively high share of U.S. immigrants are young adults because many immigrants are looking for work rather than for other family. People between the ages of 20 and 39 make up 39% of recent immigrants, compared to only 27% of the total U.S. population. Immigrants face many challenges. One such challenge is government immigration policies. Most countries have adopted selective immigration policies that admit some types of immigrants, but not others. The United States has one such system. The U.S. uses a family-based system which allows people to come to the U.S. if they have relatives already here. This makes it hard for people to migrate to the U.S. if they do not have existing family here. Another challenge of immigrants is unauthorized immigration. Many immigrants don't have proper paperwork or documents, and then they are unauthorized immigrants. They come over to another country without clearing their paperwork, which means the government does not know that they are there.